So as we touch on at the top of the call, Brendan, you were one of the first graduates of the program, so congratulations for that.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. What prompted you to go for the PURE Project Manager program? Was there anything you were looking for, or any goals you had in mind?
Absolutely, yeah. So I'm also a member of a large project management community here in Switzerland. So I love to network and find out how are project managers in other organizations, in other sectors, in other industries, regions, etc. How are they implementing projects? What are the new trends? What's happening in the space? And for me, it was kind of, I was looking for something that could combine these different aspects of leadership and leadership styles alongside the project management certifications, methodologies, and best practices that we've kind of developed in our own little space over the course of the last, let's say, 20, 30 years. And for me, I think that's one of the real driving factors as we look forward to what are the new trends towards project management. I think there's a real need for organizations to try to grab a more, let's say, added value out of their project managers. It's not just about how can we, set up some dashboards and let's build a Gantt chart and what's my WBS and, where's the risk assessment, matrix and all these types of things. It's also nurturing and coaching organizations through the change process. And how can we as project managers not only use the tools and the knowledge that we've got from our qualifications, but also using different aspects of leadership and leadership styles and leadership techniques to really sort of nurture people through this change process. And I think the PURE Project Manager certification has really tried to do that, right? There are certainly different modules that harmonize those different aspects and bring them together into a standardized, or, we're trying to do that, bring it into some type of centralized certification to give people insights into what's really possible. And it's really quite encouraging to see these types of certification, or to see this certification come out onto the market, really be presented and see people go through this phase. And I think, it sort of leads on to discussions about the setup, the shape and form of the actual course itself, the ability to really have a look at these different modules that are set up. I think there's 20 odd, right, of these different modules, and being able to identify different models earlier on and say, look, that's a knowledge gap. Let's have a look at these particular subject matters, go through the course, try to learn something new and see how I can actually implement that in my day-to-day work. And then obviously with a holistic view of going through all the different modules, how that can fine tune all of my skills, because it could be, mate, like some of the things we learn about in these modules, I haven't looked at officially for, 10 years or so, right? So it's also quite interesting just to touch base and have a look at some of the best practices that we see. And I think, people like yourself have just done an amazing job of identifying core aspects from these subject areas and bringing them together into let's say a meaningful, compact manner, so that we can extract that value as project managers and look to implement that straight away. And I thought it was fantastic, mate. I had a great time doing it. Yeah.
No, that's great. I mean, personally, I had a great time putting it together, and exactly what you've touched on, especially on my lean course, for example. There's a lot of stuff in there I hadn't touched for a long time, but then you come back to it and think, this is really going to work if I apply it correctly. So it's a nice refresher in some places.
Yeah.